Guys, what's happening with President Donald Trump right now is far bigger than the daily headlines suggest. It's not just another week in Washington, we're watching a second-term administration navigate a partial government shutdown, an escalating conflict with Iran that's driving up gas prices, massive nationwide protests, and bold executive moves that could reshape everything from airport security to America's global posture. Listen closely, because these developments are testing the limits of Trump's peace through strength doctrine, exposing deep divisions at home, and raising serious questions about where this all leads for the United States. Let's start with the immediate context. As of late March 2026, President Trump is in the thick of his second term, holding his 11th cabinet meeting on March 26 where he updated officials on military operations against Iran and domestic challenges. The administration is pushing forward on multiple fronts. Trump signed an executive action directing the Department of Homeland Security to immediately pay TSA agents amid a funding impasse with Congress that has left many security workers without paychecks for weeks. This partial shutdown drama is causing real pain at airports, with some travelers being advised to arrive hours early. At the same time, Trump's signature is set to appear on US dollar bills later this year. A historic first for a sitting president, while the Education Department prepares to relocate as part of broader efforts to dismantle or restructure federal agencies. But the dominant story right now is the war with Iran. Trump has declared that the U.S. has beaten the hell out of Iran and claims victory in key aspects of the campaign, including strikes on military targets. He's extended deadlines for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to global oil shipments, postponed additional attacks on energy infrastructure, and signaled that productive talks might be underway. Yet Tehran continues to push back, with new strikes reported and mixed messages coming from the White House. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has suggested the conflict could wind down without a full ground invasion, but additional U.S. troops from the 82nd Airborne are deploying to the region. Oil prices have spiked. Some areas seeing gas over $4 or even $7 a gallon, hitting truckers, the Postal Service, and everyday Americans hard. Trump has criticized NATO allies for not stepping up and even joked about future targets, saying, "Cuba's next," during a speech at a Saudi-backed investment forum in Miami, before quickly adding, "Pretend I didn't say that." This isn't happening in a vacuum. The No Kings protests erupted across all 50 states this weekend, drawing huge crowds from coast to coast. Demonstrators are rallying against Trump's policies, the rising cost of living, and what they call an authoritarian drift, with big events in places like New York City where Robert De Niro labeled Trump an existential threat, and in Minnesota where Bruce Springsteen performed. Clashes broke out in West Palm Beach between protesters and Trump supporters. The administration's response has been dismissive. Officials say they do not think about the protest at all. Still, these scenes reveal a polarized nation where frustration over economic pressures and foreign entanglements is boiling over. Now, let's dig deeper into the analysis. What's really going on here? Trump campaigned on avoiding endless wars and fixing the economy, yet we're seeing a conflict that started as a targeted operation to neutralize Iran's nuclear threat and control of key shipping lanes turning into something messier. The financial system in Iran has reportedly collapsed in recent months, and U.S. strikes have hit thousands of targets. On one hand, this aligns with Trump's long-standing maximum pressure approach, weakening adversaries before forcing deals. On the other, the mixed signals, victory declarations one day, extensions and talk of negotiations the next, are frustrating even some Republican lawmakers and leaving allies confused. Who benefits? American energy producers might see opportunities if global supply tightens, but consumers and industries dependent on stable oil flows are paying the price. Meanwhile, the DHS funding fight highlights congressional gridlock. House Republicans are pushing their own plan while Trump urges them to hold firm. His decision to vote by mail in a recent Florida election, despite past criticisms of the practice, adds a layer of irony that opponents are quick to highlight. There's also the domestic restructuring angle. Moves against DEI initiatives in federal contracting, support for farmers with a golden tractor joke at the White House, and broader agency overhauls signal a continued effort to shrink government bureaucracy. Trump's remarks at the Future Investment Initiative in Miami touched on AI opportunities, stable coins, and peace through strength, while he opened the floor for unusually candid questions from investors. These moments show a president comfortable blending policy with his trademark style, sometimes rambling about everyday objects like a Sharpie pen during cabinet meetings. What do you think about this? Is the Iran conflict a necessary show of strength, or is it risking a wider war that could drag the U.S. economy down further? Are the "No Kings" protests a legitimate pushback against overreach, or just partisan noise amplified by celebrities? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all, and the best ones often shape future videos. If this continues, several scenarios could play out. One possibility: diplomatic breakthroughs lead to a deal where Iran steps back from nuclear ambitions and Hormuz disruptions ease, allowing oil prices to stabilize and giving Trump a clear win heading into midterm cycles. Another: prolonged fighting escalates with Houthi involvement or proxy attacks, forcing more U.S. resources overseas while domestic shutdown pain grows, fueling even larger protests and economic uncertainty. A third path involves Congress breaking the impasse on funding, but only after concessions that shift power dynamics in Washington. And with Trump floating ideas like targeting Cuba or criticizing NATO publicly, we could see a more isolationist yet aggressive foreign policy that realigns alliances in the Middle East and beyond. Here's where it gets even more interesting. And potentially game-changing. Beneath the surface of these headlines lies a deeper tension. Trump's second term is proving that America first doesn't mean retreating from the world stage. Instead, it's about dictating terms on U.S. strengths, military power, economic leverage, and unapologetic deal-making. The protests and shutdown fights show how quickly public patience wears thin when gas prices rise and government services falter. Yet Trump's base remains energized by the boldness, from paying TSA workers via executive fiat to pushing AI and crypto frameworks. Most people only see the chaos on TV, fewer connect how these threads, war, domestic gridlock, cultural pushback, are testing whether Trump's vision can deliver stability or if the divisions run too deep. This could change everything. If the administration navigates the Iran situation toward a favorable resolution while easing economic pressures at home, it strengthens Trump's legacy and reshapes global power balances for years. But missteps, prolonged conflict, deeper shutdown effects, or escalating protests, could erode support and hand ammunition to opponents ahead of future elections. The real test isn't just winning battles abroad, it's maintaining unity and prosperity at home while projecting strength overseas. In the end, these latest Trump headlines reflect a presidency that refuses to play by conventional rules. It's disruptive, it's polarizing, and it's forcing America to confront hard choices about its role in the world and its own internal cohesion. Realistically, we're in uncharted territory: a leader who declares victories mid-conflict, bypasses Congress when needed, and faces massive street opposition, all while promising to make America greater than ever. If you enjoy this kind of in-depth analysis that cuts through the noise and connects the dots, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Drop a comment with your take, share this with friends who need the full picture, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one.